December 14th, 2024 was a big day for the bloxfruit community, since it marked the release of Update 24, where more content was added like the dragon fruit along with others. This was especially crazy to see an update, since the last before this was December 25th of 2023, almost a full year ago from Update 24. To put into perspective how crazy this update was, it broke the concurrent player record and had more than 2 million people playing on it. And with all that seeming great, you would expect this to be one of the biggest games on the platform, but honestly, out of all the current popular games, I would say it's probably the worst and hardest to get into, in my opinion. Before we get into the video, I have two things I need to talk about. The first is that this is entirely my opinion of the game, and I need you to remember that. And the next thing is that I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year, and I really appreciate if you consider subbing if you don't hate me by the end of this video. So yeah, let's get into why I think bloxfruit sucks, at least for people just now getting into it. An obvious thing that most people have made critiques about this game mentioned first is the gameplay itself, so I'll be sure to get that out of the way quickly. The gameplay cycle is basically you go to wherever the game tells you to go using the compass, and once you're there, you find an NPC that lets you accept a quest to kill enemies, and you do this over and over. If this sounds boring, that's because it is. I have countless hours spent killing enemies, then going to go accept the quest again, and I'm only on the second sea and around level 1300. I would understand if the level cap wasn't too high and you can get to max level in maybe a day, but the reality for most people is that they will never reach the max level. The worst part though is that throughout my entire playthrough, I've been constantly told that the game gets really good at C3, but the amount of time I have to put into it of pure grinding makes this goal seem so far. Currently I have been on the cursed ship for like 9 months, just because I haven't really felt any reason to get back on and grind. That's all I would do when I got into the game, and I wouldn't even have any fun. If you've been thinking that the gameplay in the back is boring and repetitive, that's just a small bit of what it really is. While I'm sure there's some fun stuff I could do inside the game at C2, this brings me to my next point. In this game, the direction of what to do is basically locked into following a compass, as mentioned before. But the problem with this is that I never actually know what fun features I should be looking for since they're not included. I remember when I first got to C2, I joined a raid and I had no idea what I was doing. And if I remember correctly, it didn't even tell me what I got and I just had to figure it out. I just think that in order to understand the game, you must constantly be on a wiki or you'll never know what all the options you have are. Some things make sense and are straightforward, like unlocking new fruits, though you just kind of buy them. But then there are some quests you'll never be able to do unless you have a step-by-step guide. I do remember a quest where I was in the ice world in C1, and I had to catch some ice in a cup after solving a puzzle. And then I was thinking, how would I ever find this out without looking it up or being told? Someone told me the quest name was like Saber or something, so if you know it, let me know in the comments, and how a regular player would ever be able to find out what to do for this. The fact I mentioned at the start of the video that I found out really shocked me is that the Dragon update was the newest addition in almost a year. While there were smaller little things that were changed, I was surprised to find this out. The fact that the biggest game went almost a year without an update is crazy, and I feel like it definitely could have been sped up. While I'm not saying to rush updates, I just think something so popular would have like a full team dedicating most of their time to it, updating it, and increasing the player count, since it's literally the biggest game on the platform. Even though I have these thoughts, I can't deny that the game does listen to its community, and if an update is bad or they're unhappy with something, then it will be changed. Maybe in a long time, but it will happen. The recent example of the Dragon Fruit update is a prime showcase of this, but honestly, it's hard to defend how much time between the updates are. If this was a smaller game, then I would maybe be able to look past that, but when you're at the top, I feel like you have to set the bar, and an update once a year is not looking too good. I have heard people who complain about the game being pay to win, and honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's obvious that the better fruits you have, you'll be able to activate at any time will give you an advantage over players and make your life easier. But I don't know if that's an instant win. The players who have refined their abilities and fighting style will always be able to win against the players who just spend money. The only real big thing I've noticed about spending money is that you could buy double XP to make the game a whole lot better and faster, which sucks if you can't buy it. Basically, I don't think the game is pay to win, since you can grind out most of the stuff you can buy, and grinding is something this community does so commonly that it doesn't seem too extreme to expect it compared to other games, I guess. An alternative game that I feel hits most of these points well, and even based on an anime, is Your Bizarre Adventure. This game had a peak of 70,000 players, Not even close to bloxfruits, but I feel like they have many similarities, but does it a little better. This game has the same format where you beat up enemies, complete quests, and do it again until you get max level. There's also alternative quests you could do to obtain stronger powers, but I simply think the game is better since you can start enjoying it faster. I think there's around 50 levels and you can prestige up to 3 times, and each time gives you different rewards. But you aren't required to prestige at all. This means that you're able to get into the best parts of the game, which is making builds and fighting a lot sooner, and probably within a few hours. If you compare this to bloxfruits, where it'll take multiple weeks just to start having fun, it's wild to believe the difference in player counts. In YBA, you'll be strong and have content to do afterwards, but for bloxfruits, once you're strong, it's because you finished everything. Bloxfruits is only really designed for people who grind like crazy and basically live on it. I just have no idea how I got to the point of being Roblox's #1 game and breaking records. I'm not saying that bloxfruits doesn't deserve it, but I just don't understand since it's so harsh for people just starting. Unless they have a friend who's very into the game, I honestly believe getting into it and liking it is rare. Even though I think like this, I'm completely proven wrong by the stats. So the only thing I have to say is, congratulations bloxfruits. Even though I might not agree with a lot of the game's decisions, they are very important and well done in order to constantly push the boundaries of a Roblox game and inspire other creators to do the same, so thank you. With all that said, thanks for watching. I know this isn't most people's opinion of the game, so I hope if you leave me with a hate comment, it could be a little civil. And besides that, I'll see you next time. Bye!